Labour Shadow Minister for Children, Steve Reid, says children are suffering lasting damage. Let's talk now to Mandy Headley, a single mum of 6 with 3 children of school age who all have special educational needs. Sophie Killingley, who has 2 children, one who is currently receiving special educational support from their local council, and Councillor David Simmons is here from the Local Government Association, which represents councils. Thank you very much for the programme, all of you. Thank you. 6 children, 3 of whom are school age. Tell us about Macaulay, who is your 5th, who's 12. What conditions does he have?
Macaulay has autism, subtype pathological demand avoidance, ADHD, emotional dysregulation and pervasive anxiety.
What's emotional dysregulation?
It's where he can't regulate his own emotions, so he finds it very difficult in distress to calm himself or know what to do. So he can get highly distressed because his anxiety levels are so high, he just cannot self-regulate, so he needs a lot of help and support to help him regulate.
What help does he get at school, and how easy or otherwise has it been for you to make sure he has that help?
School has been very, very challenging and very difficult. Schooling itself is a massive demand for someone with pathological demand avoidance.
That means he doesn't want to go to school?
Yeah, just getting him to school is a battle. Getting up in the morning is a demand, getting dressed, washed, eating's a demand, drinking's a demand, and just the day is full of demands before he even reaches school. So when he actually gets there, he needs a lot of support and help, and this is where he's been failed, and a lot of his placements have broke down, and he's been out of education for 12 months.
How many times has he been excluded?
He's been excluded twice. Once from mainstream and then once from a specialist secondary provision. So when he was excluded from his secondary provision, there was nothing available for Macaulay. There was no schools to meet his needs within the local area, and we was looking...
So he's just at home for a year?
Yeah, at home for a year. I said I wasn't in a position to homeschool because I've got other children and adults with needs. So it was very, very challenging for myself as a parent. It was extremely traumatic for Macaulay because he felt unwanted. What was wrong with him? Why did nobody want him? And he's still living the trauma to this day.
Let me bring in Sophie. Sophie, you faced... Hi, good morning. Thanks for your patience. You faced a particular battle trying to get support for your daughter from the council. Tell our audience about that.
Yeah, so my daughter has ASD or Asperger's. And she was promised transport from our council to get her into school. She has an EHCP, which is the legal document. However, our council then refused to give her that transport, even though they promised it. And the school gives her excellent support, but we've had to fight every moment of the way. And the council, we had to resort to threatening legal action in order to get them to actually uphold the promises. It was extremely stressful.
And what was the reason they were saying they weren't going to provide transport in?
They didn't give a really particular reason.
Could it be about money?
We were guessing it was budget cuts.
Yeah.
They just said that they would not be able to give her transport past May. Okay. So we had to go for legal action, with solicitors' letters, and had to pay our way, which was very stressful and unnecessary because the legally binding document had said they would give her transport, and then they reneged on that.
Councillor David Simmons, I mean, this report today says there's a lot of high-quality care from councils, but they're spending a lot of money on it. And in 2017-18, children with SEND accounted for 45% of permanent exclusions, 43% of fixed-period exclusions. Councils are failing to support children in need. Is that fair?
The system is clearly struggling. As you rightly say, we've got many brilliant special educational needs schools that can improve the life chances of children. The fundamental problem is there is not enough money in the system, and what we've just heard is symptomatic of a system where central government, having created lots of entitlements which we all welcome, simply hasn't funded them, and local authorities which have lost 61 pence in every pound of central government funding for all the services that they provide are now reaching the point where they simply don't have enough money left in the rainy day fund, because it's carrying on raining, to keep some of those things going.
Right. Department for Education say helping all children and young people reach their potential is one of the core aims of this government, including those with special educational needs. This is why the Prime Minister is committed to providing an extra £700 million next year to make sure these children get an education that helps them develop and thrive as adults, would improve special educational needs support, to put families at the heart of the system and give them better choice in their children's education, whether in mainstream or special school. Last week we launched a review of these reforms to make sure every child everywhere gets an education that prepares them for success. Obviously it's a new administration with a new Prime Minister. Do you have faith that that review will lead to improvements for your kids?
I've got no faith whatsoever it's going to give improvements to our kids, because we hear that this is going to happen, this is going to happen. Nothing happens. The system is completely broken. Kids are failed on every level. Access to education, the right support whilst in education. EHCPs are supposed to be collaborative approach where health,
That
social
stands
care
for
talk to
education
each
and
other.
healthcare plan for your, a tailored plan for your child.
But these plans aren't fit for purpose. So you get the plan, the right support isn't put in the plan, and then you've got another battle to try and get the right support within that plan so the child's placement doesn't break down.
Right.
And unfortunately things aren't written in the right sections of the EHCP.
Do you have faith or not?
No, my experience is that the EHCP has actually been helpful to my children, and they have received support, but it's because I've had to threaten legal action, and we've also had to pay a lot of money for private reports in order to get the EHCP in the first place. It's been very expensive. So it's
How much?
well, for an occupational assessment, therapy assessment was £400 for 1 hour assessment. We had £500 in solicitors' fees. So it's been very expensive and a fight to get every piece of support that we have got.
David Simmons, is it just about money? More money from the government? I mean, 700 million, this statement from the Department for Education is saying next year. That's obviously going to help. Is that enough?
More money will certainly help, but taking the example of transport to school, councils like North Yorkshire spent over £50